It is 7:06, and I am going to call a meeting to order. We do have a quorum, which is 5 members. I'll take roll call now. Doug Iverson.
Here.
Gary Page.
Here.
Tom Krieger.
Here.
Jolene Schatzinger.
Here.
And Ellen Sorensen. We have 5 members, so we have a quorum. Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I make the motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tom. Any discussion about the agenda? Seeing none, those all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. We have no one here for public comment, so we will move on. You all have the secretary's report for July. I think there was a spelling error with Tom Krieger's name.
Yep, that was noted.
Okay. It's K-R-U-E?
E-G-E-R.
Okay.
E-G-E.
Are there-
K-R-U-G-E-R.
G-E-R, K-R-U-E-G-E-R.
No,
Ah.
a U.
K-R-U-E-G-E-R. Okay, sorry, Tim.
Tom.
That's okay.
Oh, God.
Doesn't bode well.
It does. I'll be better, I promise.
Are there any other corrections or additions to the minutes? If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Gary. Any further discussion? Those in favor of approving the minutes with the corrected spelling of Tom Krieger's name, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, treasurer's report. So you were all given a treasurer's report, and our operations fund, we have 73% of our revenue in because we received the second payments from the municipalities. We have not received our state fire dues, so I will check to see when those are expected to arrive. I think I can check with Adam Sontag or Amanda Toney because they're paid through the city. Fire call charges are low. They're only about 14%. Inspection fire fees are, we'll get those at the end of the year after taxes.
Yep.
Fire prevention services, 200, we are under budget on that. Interest income, interestingly, is pretty high, which is a nice,
I'm sorry, Ellen, where are you at on this?
I'm on the operations fund revenue, page 1.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay, and then the fund balance applied right now is 0. We are budgeted for 57,000. And donations and contributions, I'm going to have to talk to Barb about that because she's only reconciled the firehouse sub grant. She hasn't put any of the other donations or grants in there. So that number should be higher. And then the operations fund, we are at 58% of budget, which is great. So she does have, if you're concerned about the donations, they are on the last page, which is why the numbers should total differently because we have gotten quite a few donations in this year, which you've all accepted. So then if you want to look at the check register, John had a question earlier about an interest charge on the Horicon Bank. And that was because we had a glitch in sending them to Barb. But once we bring everything back in-house, we're not going to have those glitches anymore.
Right, and we just bring them on.
Yeah. So, are there any questions about the financials?
For that late fee, did anybody go talk to them? How late was it?
How late was it?
I don't know, by the time she got the check out, it was probably like 15 days, 10, 15 days by the time they received it.
Late. We need to, this has been an ongoing issue with checks not going out on time, so that's something we have to keep working on.
That, you know, it's just me talking, but
Mhm.
they know we only meet once a month. And they know it can be on the 7th or it can be on the 1st.
Yeah, but these are paid ahead of time already.
Yeah.
Well, once we have the accounting software in, we're gonna kind of get rid of cutting checks and sending them in, because we'll be paying everything electronically. You can pay bills electronically for 20 cents instead of paying for an envelope, paying to print checks, paying a person to cut the checks, paying for postage. So we'll be saving about 80 cents per bill. Does that help make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because if it's 15 days late and it gets dropped in the mail and it goes all over the place for the mail,
And if we're paying them directly, even if it got to her late, if they paid them directly, it might not have been as late, because
yeah.
it would have been automatically transferred in. It wasn't gonna sit on somebody's desk. It wasn't gonna, you know, go through the.
Yeah, because I'm with you, Gary. I don't like those late charges.
No, me neither.
Just so you know, the good news is the audit came in at $6,000 instead of $6,500, which we had budgeted. We don't have the audit. There are issues with the audit. It has to go to different reviewers at CLA, and we should get a letter explaining to us what is wrong with the audit. And as a result, we are delaying the City of Ripon's audit because we're tied to the City of Ripon. Just so you're all aware.
Okay.
I don't know that there's anything, did you want to talk about the cost for the, is the cost for engine 14 on here?
I don't believe it is.
Okay, then we can do that under your report.
Okay.
You didn't pay that bill yet, did you?
No, it's going in
Should be for this.
time. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
going in tomorrow.
Okay. So is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
Because it's you or me, huh?
Yeah,
I
that's
make a
pretty
motion-
much it.
Make a motion to accept the treasurer's
Thanks,
report.
Gary.
I second it.
Thank you, Tom. Are there any questions about it?
That's pretty clear.
Yeah. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those op- oh, those opposed, same sign. Cool. Let's go to the chief's report.
Department staff and the morale update. We did have another application come in. Heather and I talked about it today. When we could set up a date to do an interview with her, to get her on board as soon as we can as well.
Thank you.
Morale is status quo yet. It's still there, so. Clarification or certification update. No update on that. The guy that did his test, we have not heard back from him yet, whether he passed that or not, so.
Sometimes there's a delay on that, right?
Yeah, could be.
Okay.
July calls for service. You got the roster in front of you here where we went, what we did. There was 22 calls total. Daytime shift calls were only 4. Rapid response calls 0. Mutual aid given 5. 27 of those were year-to-date. Mutual aid received 1, and year-to-date 6. Total calls for the year was 181. That is significantly lower than normal.
I was gonna say, because it usually should be around 200. But that's good news. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. What were the mutual aid? Where were we going there?
Let's see, we went to the city of Fond du Lac. We went to Coloma as a strike team.
Oh, for the
For
fire.
the big fire.
Wait a minute, oh, for that
We went to
That
Fond du
big-
Lac again.
Wildfire.
Yeah, the big wild, yeah.
Okay.
Then Fond du Lac, what kind of was my art?
Yeah, the mutual aid defined lecture on the 28th, 22nd.
4, Porta Fond
the 9th.
So I guess I could just look at this and figure.
du Lac? Porta Fond du Lac and then one for Oklahoma,
Do we get called off on Fond du Lac a lot?
most of the time.
We hardly leave the city, we're called off already.
Okay.
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
Moving on to fire inspections, 99.5% done.
We have 3 left to do.
99.5% done, how wonderful.
We have 3 left to do,
Yeah.
so.
So are we gonna meet that then? We're gonna meet the deadline or whatever we need to do?
Well, we gotta do a second round.
We have to do them twice a year.
Okay.
So I'm giving the guys a couple weeks off and then we're gonna go back at her again, so.
Okay.
Thank you for doing
Oh.
the Nepiescan Town Hall.
Yep.
The guy young guy was very professional.
That would've been.
Tyler?
That would've been
We're
firefighter
getting
Donato's.
really good feedback from the business community on how these folks are doing fire inspections. That's fabulous. They're doing such a good job. People are thanking us for getting a list of what they have to change, because people want to be in compliance, they just don't understand unless they have it in writing after the folks leave. So I've been hearing really, really good feedback.
Next on here is building inspection. I think
Oh.
Ellen can probably chime in for this.
Heather and I can chime in. You don't have this, Jolene, so I'll read it, and then there'll be a copy here for you when you come home.
Thank you.
Sue Leahy sent her electrician inspector over, and Heather and I met with him on the 25th of July. And his comments, I'm gonna try to read them if I can't, Heather. Yeah, space appears to be occupied, and apparently, based on what he's found, it should not be. Non-finished wall with cables going sideways. His concern is something will get hooked on them, so there has to be some sort of drywall covering them. We're missing multiple electrical boxes that the open wires need to be put into the electrical boxes.
I think it also said lids, missing lids in multiple.
Yeah, there are missing lids because there's like openings in the electrical boxes that are there, but they're open so you could stick stuff in. There's no exit sign near the bedroom areas, so if we lost power, they wouldn't have any way to get out because there's no windows or anything. And then the big thing is that there are extension cords plugged into permanent equipment, and an outlet needs to be put in. I think that's radio, is that radio
It's a
equipment?
radio, yes.
We need to you can't have extension cords going across the room. It's a fire station. So, that we need to have an outlet put in there. So we are waiting for Sue Leahy to give us her opinion as to if we can use it temporarily, if we can get a conditional use permit, because right now we really are not supposed to be using it. I forgot to take pictures, so if you guys want to go upstairs and look.
Yeah, afterward, you go upstairs.
There's a lot of wire that's wrapped around, and then the copper stuff is out.
It's waiting to be ran somewhere else.
Yeah.
Probably not hooked up some of it, but,
Well, we
I mean-
don't know.
well, you should tell it, or put your tongue on it.
Well, they're up high.
Gary, you can do that afterward. Gary will do that.
Get you a ladder.
I don't know, I tried to turn the light switch
I
on
would,
the other night when I was showing it
I
to
would-
somebody, and the light switch didn't work, so I figured it's not
Hooked up.
working. It's not hooked up.
Okay.
it probably just wasn't finished.
What's the outlet to remedy the issues?
Well, we would have to get, probably John Heatley is our electrician, we'd have to get him in here and give us a quote to at least make it safe. Put in the exit light. There's one that's in.
Yeah, there's two, I
There's
noticed
two,
today when I
okay.
was up
He
there.
suggested that we put in an exit light with floodlights that are battery backup in case power does go out, then those floodlights would illuminate the whole area. So we would be asking John for that, and we would be asking for him to install the boxes and then plug all the holes. And then I think we'd have to get a contractor in to there's drywall laying up there. That we have the drywall, so we'd have to get somebody to put the drywall up to cover that conduit. It's the conduit that's sort of just staking through the walls.
And I'm not sure the code thickness on the drywall up there, but I had a contractor up there and looked at it as well. He said that is not thick enough drywall that's on those walls up there right now
For the kind of,
for
the place we have.
what we're using it for. Being a commercial building, it would have to be another 1/4 inch of drywall added to that already.
The other thing
So-
is, we did find the state approved plan. There is a state approved plan. I don't think it's been built according to the state use plan. And there was a kitchen in there. There was supposed to be a kitchen area in there. So I guess I would suggest we take care of what we need to take care of right now, but that we need to go back as a separate agenda item and decide, do we want a kitchen up there? Because there's a kitchen right there. I mean, what's the reason for having it? Do you need a second kitchen?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think the thought when they did that was, there's gonna be guys staying over there, and put a sink and a little stove in, and can heat up your hot dogs or whatever you wanna do, and don't have to come traipsing through this whole business. I'm guessing that was it.
Yeah, like a little kitchenette, you know,
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be elaborate, just a little
Yeah.
sink,
It's supposed to be a
microwave,
refrigerator,
probably.
it's not a little kitchen,
And I don't know what the state plan shows, it should show right in the state plan, what do y'all want it up there?
a stove, for sure.
Well, it's bigger than my kitchen at home.
So, yeah.
I have a small kitchen.
I
But could we put that on a future agenda item?
I think we need to take a little tour up there on one of these meetings and
Well,
see
we
what
can-
we got. There's other problems. I haven't been up there for a couple of years, but
So let's put a tour on for the next meeting. Where did, Patrick's not there. You guys can follow us with the iPad to go up there. Do you want to put that on next month's
I
meeting?
think we need to go and take a look at it because I said before, you know, you're filling those cubicles, you're gonna close those all up. All of the sprinklers gotta be changed. That's gotta be
Well,
an awful lot of money. And, you know,
You gotta drop those.
just gotta drop, just gotta drop them. You just gotta bring a pole down from the pole that's going across. Just have to bring a pole down with the sprinkler on it. You don't have to redo the whole thing, you just have to drop piping, I should say, not poles, piping.
What do you need, a sprinkler head in each bedroom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then
Yes,
it's
by
gonna be
code.
pretty elaborate, then it's gonna
By
be,
code.
But would you even have to put the ceilings in the bedrooms? You got the cubicles, you can.
that's something we can
We're gonna have
decide when
the
we walk up
cubicles
there and take a
anyway.
look.
Yeah, whatever we change, we'll have to get approved by the state
Yeah.
too. So,
I mean, I think it's all a great idea, but, you know, it's, what can we afford? What can the association, you guys afford?
Are you saying that we need Ahern and somebody like that to do the sprinkler system, okay?
yeah,
There are very
we'll,
few people that are certified to do that, right?
yeah,
Right.
we'll pull the plan, what we'll do at the September meeting is we'll do a tour, we'll pull the state plan so you can review them before we do the tour. And then we'll talk about if you want us to go out and get quotes. By that time, we should have Sue Leahy's opinion too on what needs to be done to have, so it can be occupied.
Yeah, because we're gonna, yeah. Because winter's coming.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But there's no heat or cooling up there.
There's heat.
There's
no
heat,
air,
okay.
there's no AC up there.
There's no AC up there either.
But right now, the heat, if, you have to keep the rooms open, otherwise the heat doesn't disperse throughout the rooms.
Oh,
Because it's only in one spot.
It's got a wall heater,
It's got a wall here, yeah.
something up there.
I couldn't come up with the word.
so we'll put that on for our September 5th meeting. Because the board's gonna have, y'all are gonna have to decide what you wanna do. I wouldn't, I'm not sure even, we're trying to work on the budget, and that's on here too. So, you know, we have to balance that with the budget too, so.
Knowing that we have to care about the budget, should we contact Heatley just to see if he could stop on up? I mean,
Yep.
because he's probably a couple weeks out.
Yep.
And then if we wait till September,
Yep,
that's a long
but
time.
Yep, that's a good point, Jolene. We can get an estimate from him about just to make it,
Legal.
yep. Jolene, can you see us?
I can.
Oh, okay. All right. Do we have an update on the strategic plan?
Kind of, yeah, I can give you a little update. We've been meeting on Monday nights of our training. We've been meeting down here at like 5:30 before our training nights. We're still moving forward with that. We got through the SWOT, which is our strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The list has been made, and we're going through those as we speak Monday night. So
With everybody on it?
Robert, no,
Yes.
it's just the group, it's just the committee.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's a good exercise to do.
Is that a state requirement that we have a strategic plan?
No,
Oh, okay, that's our own
Yep,
internal.
yep.
Okay.
yep.
And
Okay,
then update on purchasing priorities. To be honest, we really haven't moved forward with that yet. This last month was pretty busy. We've had a lot of things going on between that fire up in Coloma. We had a motorcycle rally thing down here, open house type thing. So we've just been too busy. Last month was too busy to get our purchasing priorities in order. We'll try to get something more definite for the next meeting.
okay. All right, any questions for the chief?
Do you want me to bring up 14 somewhere around here?
Yeah,
I'll quick talk about engine 14. At the last meeting, no, it was broke down.
We went with the transmission.
Yes, with transmission problems. That is fixed, it is back in service, and it came in way under budget from what we budgeted. So,
So it just needed a module or?
yeah, about 58, so I'm gonna say 6,000, right around 6,000 total it was to get it fixed.
So we budgeted a lot more for that.
95?
I think it was everything in the contingency.
Right, that was 9,500.
Yeah, I think it was everything.
So we have something left
Left
in
in there.
contingency.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. All right, any questions for the chief
The hot water heater was installed today,
on the doors?
and 2 exit doors, exterior doors, in the apparatus bay, those have been put in today as well.
Did we order a door for the upstairs for the,
Yes, yes, Ripon area builders is working on it as well.
okay, cool. All right, so we have some old business. I am still working to get a second quote for collection firm information, so I'm gonna have to bring that back in September. So possible charges for the accounting transition. I had a talk, you all have this, which is from CLA, and they need me to, well, they need the board to approve it, but the cost of the transition would be not to exceed $500, and that's downloading all of the stuff off of Civics, and then uploading it into Intuit, and that's for the general ledger and component units. So because we always have the association audited at the same time we do, there will be a separate component for their accounting, and I think there's another component that will be set up. And then Heather and I will input all of the payroll information. I'm an old payroll clerk from Advanco, and I used Intuit Payroll when I had more employees at the shop, so I'm really familiar with it. And then the goal is the city allows us to continue with the VPN until September 1st, because my concern is I want to run, I've done a few conversions in my life, and I want to run the payroll, I want to run them parallel to make sure that we can cut over to the Intuit without a problem before we let the Civics go.
Makes sense.
So I'm asking you, it's an action item, I'm asking you to allow me, I'm asking for a motion to allow me to sign this special services statement of work not to exceed $500.
I move to add the money for the transition, the accounting transition.
Up to
up to
500?
500.
Okay. Is there
There
a
you go, Jolene.
I second it.
Thank you, Jolene. Are there any questions? So if there's no other questions, are all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign? Okay. So the accounting software VPN transition update it's the same issue. Chief Wallner had wanted us to have a firm run a diagnostic on our computers. There was concern that people could come in or that there was some sort of viruses on it, and they were here this morning. It's the same firm that the city uses, and they were very quick to reply to us. And Heather can share with you what happened this morning. I had another meeting I had to be in otherwise.
Well, he came in, he looked at all of our computers. He looked at the area upstairs where the modem and the router and everything is. Pretty much all of our computers are on Windows 10, so he was happy about that. There was one thing that was downloading and saving to the web that we shut down, so because other people could get access to that, so we shut that down so that it so they can't get access anymore. He was gonna go back and write up a thing. He thought that it would be a pretty simple, by the way he talked. He threw out a lot of lingo that I didn't understand. But in essence, he thinks that, yes, we can network everything together.
It's not networked right now. Everything is a silo.
And he's hoping that with doing that and some other things that we can work and get our costs down as to what we're paying for internet now and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and we'll talk about that in the budget
Yeah.
part. We'll talk about that. But, so we've had the diagnostic. That was really at Chief Wallner's urging. Yeah.
So it turned out okay? So
Well,
far.
except for that one open door that he shut down today.
Right, but
So,
nothing,
Well, he ran his diagnostics. He's gotta go back and he's gotta look up like some of the things that he found and to see
Okay.
what the items that we're using.
right,
He found one item that we're using, I believe it's the modem. But we had a different one sitting there that he thought was newer and better. And so then he ran a diagnostic and figured out why we're using what we're using. And he says it's legal and it's okay, but it's not as firewall safe, I guess is the way I would word it. As good as the one that we're not using that's sitting in the room. So, so he was gonna look to see, research more about the equipment we had so he can get us a better understanding of where we need to go and how we need to.
and where's our server?
We don't have a server because we're not networked.
Okay, but, okay. We don't even have a server.
So that's the way he explained it to me. He goes,
no, we wouldn't if it's
So,
not, if we're not,
okay.
if we're not networked, we don't have
Yeah.
a server.
Eventually, because I've been looking at grant opportunities too, and I've talked to the chief about what kind of iPads or Chromebooks or whatever they would want in the trucks, because if we can help eliminate some of the paper, that would help us in our state reporting if it could be entered in to a program. I mean, that we'd have to train.
Yeah, so forth.
Yeah.
But the guy this morning suggested that we use the tough books, but he said if you do the tough books, make sure you get the chip that's already in there, because then it's like a Wi-Fi chip or so we can have internet access. 'Cause he goes, they're not made that way, and you can't just pop off the back, they're
They may
encased.
be, those were gifts from the City of Ripon Police Department, and we can find out. if
Yeah, but
they-
I think those are way too old, by the way he talked, but we can see.
We'll
Yeah.
check, because
Yep.
when we first bought those MDCs for patrol in Fond du Lac for the sheriff's department, they were all, I think they were Wi-Fi, and I think for that all law enforcement did that.
Right.
So it's possible.
It's possible, yeah, yep. So, but it's one thing he suggested.
Okay.
So-
And we have six, how many? 4, 6?
4, I think is what I saw.
So we have some. Is there anything else that he shared?
No, he was gonna go home and work on, or go back to the office and work on his recommendations.
So what we'll do is we will, when we talk about budget, my idea is we'll look at his recommendations and we'll talk about it within the context of the budget in September. Because then, we already have a draft going, but we have to put different pieces in. Are there any more questions about that? Okay, then we'll move on to your SOPs.
Yep. I don't know if the updated ones.
Yeah, I'll print it out after you get all your changes.
Which one are you going with first?
I don't know, I put 20 through 21 on top. Put them in later. Nope, they're all, nope, the whole packet.
Get the whole thing together.
So, can we talk on these?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get some SOPs started here, so we have a uniform, some stuff that's in uniform here, so like 2-021, subject is daily activities. You can kind of go through them. Are you on the right ones there? Yep, I'm on the right one. You can kind of go through, this is more so for the date crew and what we want to see happening here. So you can kind of see like from 7 o'clock and then down through lunch period, things that they're supposed to be doing, and if they're not doing inspections, there's stuff around the station that needs to get done, whether it's cleaning, garbages, whatever it is, truck checks, stuff like that.
So, I just have a question. When you say the chief officer, that could be Heather, who's here, and whoever's in the command structure, and I don't think we have any other captains yet.
No.
So, okay, that's all. So do you wanna do them all and have us approve them all, or
Well, we can go over them all. I'm not sure if we can approve them all.
do you want us to take them separately then?
Well, we don't know what the procedure is.
Do these have to be checked by our attorney first, or?
Well, I don't think so. Let's just keep going, and if something comes up that has to be checked, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I mean, this is just a clear expectation of what you want them to do during the
Yeah.
day. I
Correct.
don't think the
Right.
attorney needs to approve that.
So, yeah, if you guys just want to read through them, and if you have any questions on the daily activity, we'll take a few minutes here just so you guys can read through it, look it over, and answer any questions, I guess, that you may have.
I have a question. Last year when I was working on the budget with the former chief, there were things that the daytime folks could do that we had been outsourcing to do, like hose testing and things like that. Were you thinking about those sorts of things too? Is there anything further that could be outsourced that they could do during the day?
Not really doing this, because ladder testing, and that's all gotta be
That's all good.
state certified.
Okay.
State certified.
Okay. I was just wondering.
And the hose testing, we used to do that as well.
Yeah, we used that on some training.
Training
night.
nights.
Oh, he had a budget line for it.
Yeah, well, then he sourced out, because I love doing hose testing, other people don't love doing hose testing. I love doing hose testing. But, It's, I mean, it's a long process by the time you get through all the hose, but
And what was the budgeted amount?
For hose
For hose
testing?
testing.
I was thinking it was $3,000 or $4,000.
that was like 6.
I don't know, was it in our budget?
It's not in our.
No,
budget.
because
you
I
took it-
had
you
it
took
taken out. Because,
Oh.
there-
Well, because he was having a day shift do it.
Yeah.
So there was no sense of it being in the budget anymore.
I took it out 3 times.
How come I can't get it put back in?
Okay, all right.
Any questions on the daily activity one? Then we'll move on to the cell phone, personal use.
You skipped over one.
Which one?
This one.
22
Oh,
should be
I
writing
didn't-
assignments for engine and truck company.
I didn't have an order like you did. So writing assignments for engine and truck company, 2-022 SOP. This one here is basically telling firefighters, what seat you sit in and what your assignment is. This has been something we've had in these seats for years, the seat assignment thing. So now it's just more in paper. So people know what to expect when they're sitting in that seat. And these will all be gone over at the next training, if they're approved tonight, at the next training, and then each individual will have to sign off stating that they got a copy of this and understand
And
it.
then, yeah, you could put it in their file
Yeah.
then, and then send them an email too, so that it's a redundant system. So this is your standard operating procedure
Mhm.
already, you're just putting it in writing.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Julie, we'll save this paperwork for you too, so you have it when you return.
Thank you.
How
Yeah,
many, what, oh, I'm on to the cell phones, I'm sorry.
Are we looking for a motion to approve these tonight?
I think we can approve them all at once. I don't think we
Okay.
have to do them separately unless there's something horrendously wrong, which I don't know that we would even know.
Okay, so we'll be going over now the cell phone use. Is there anything you want to highlight in there, Chief?
Do we have RAFD issued cell phones?
We have one cell phone and it's in the buggy.
It's in the red Italian buggy, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just if dispatch has to get a hold of us, I think dispatch is the only one who's got that phone number.
Oh.
Right?
They got my number, they call me.
Right, no, but I'm just saying that they're the only ones that have that number.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not being, this is, the whole department issue is in case we ever have to get to that, then it's already,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, good
It's
thinking.
already in, yeah.
so.
And you didn't have a cell phone policy before?
Nothing I could find.
And you didn't even have like a practice for it?
Kind of a verbal one, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like, you should know this.
Don't do this and don't do that, yeah.
Yeah.
Do's and don'ts.
Yeah, I think we need one then.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you anticipate there being more SLPs to come forward?
Eventually.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
They take a while to.
Well, I understand that. We're looking for a motion then, Ellen?
Yeah, let me just finish looking at this, but yeah, it would be a motion to accept SOP 2021, 2022, 2023. So let me ask one question about the cell phone. So is there a prohibition on using the cell phone when they're driving the vehicles? Do we want them on the cell, do they need to be on the cell phone while they're,
The only time they're supposed to be on is if they're looking at maps
Yeah.
to find the location of the fire.
does that say that in
I
here?
do believe it does, yes.
Number, I think it's 11, members are prohibited from typing or reading text messages and emails using any application other than maps while driving,
Okay,
while driving district vehicles.
okay. That was my concern.
Yeah, I think that's,
Does anybody else have any concerns about any of these?
Appears to be real comprehensive.
I think they're really well written. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Can you save a packet for Jolene? Here's this for her. And then you can show Barry tomorrow, maybe? If you see him.
I kind of went through these with Barry
Okay,
already
okay.
on Monday.
So I will entertain a motion to approve these SOPs as presented. 2-021, 2-022, and 2-023.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Doug.
I'll make a motion to accept the SOP 2-021, 2-022, and 2-023.
Okay, is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Thank you, Tom. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Your SOPs are approved.
Thank you.
Okay, so a budget update. We'll talk about IT and we'll talk about Kevin working with you on some budgeting items. And then, oh, here's Jonathan. I just got it. And I want to talk first about insurance because in the budget line for 2022 and 2023 was a $33,000 plus budget for insurance. Drew Diedrich asked to meet with us last week so we could go over the policies and talk about what it would cost for next year. The policies are very comprehensive. We'll be getting him an inventory so that they have it. But we have a lot of good insurance and it's a good firm that they have provided us with. But we were bracing ourselves for an increase in the insurance and he told us it was $26,000 for this year. The budget was $33,000. The budget expenditure was $32,000. So we are a little confused and we're gonna have to go back and figure out what all expenditures came out of that line. And I might be able to work with CLA on that. But the good news is what we'll be budgeting is $5,000 less than last year. And the budget's going to be a little dicey this year because we will not have had a full year of expenditures. The IT budget is, it's also confusing because the person who does the IT work was charging us, we don't have a contract with him. I asked to see the contract and there was no contract.
Yeah, he sent a contract for the
Google
Google
stuff.
thing, yep.
So he was charging us $1,200 for the Google email quarterly. So that's $4,800 a year. And then he said, what was the increase for next year?
No, that was supposed to be for this next quarter, but we knocked down people that, from the email, so it.
But what did he want to increase us to? Was it a 10% increase?
I think so.
So anyway, it came out to about $5,000 a year, just for the Google stuff, not for any kind of support. So that wasn't in the budget. There was a $2,000 line for IT support under salaries. So we'll move that, we're gonna restructure the budget a little bit so you can actually see where administrative support and professional services go, and we'll keep the salaries pristine with salaries and benefits. So I'm gonna hopefully bring, through the budget process, a bid to move everybody off of Google, because once you pay for Google, you ain't ever gonna get it free again.
Yeah.
You're never gonna get it free again. To possibly transition us all over to Outlook and use that whole system of Outlook. So, and then we would have the support of a professional IT company.
I'm not into that stuff.
I know you're not.
But
I'm
but
trying,
what the heck is he doing for $5,000? What does he do?
30 email accounts.
That's what we're paying just to have Google Mail,
Just to have Google Mail.
Just to have our emails.
But Google's usually free.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm confused.
Yeah, me too.
Me
It's
too,
different, it's different than Gmail, man, 'cause
No, it's
I
Gmail.
can add something real quick.
Okay.
Sure.
Typically, when you have a free account for Google, you don't have as much storage like for the drive. So like with nonprofits that I'm involved in, it is not uncommon to have a cost for the professional Google account. Now, as a nonprofit, you should be able to use Google Nonprofit. I do not know what the cost is for 30 emails, but I will say there is definitely a difference between the free Google account that anyone can just get at Gmail versus a professional account that you can have like at Ripon Fire, for example. Those there is a cost.
Well, that's helpful, Jolene, thank you.
Yeah, there's.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to give you an option in the budgeting process to move to a professional firm. And right now, who does our IT?
Hang on, Ryan Design.
Right, there, yeah.
Thank you. Ryan Design, he used to be, John Ryan used to be a firefighter on our fire department.
So we're gonna look at working toward more professional like services. And the gentleman that is our contact with, what was their name again? It's like Envision. Loyalty, yeah, that's real close. He's a retired police person. So he takes security of the IT systems very seriously.
Except that was loyalty. What do they call it? Is it loyalty?
Loyalty? Okay. And then Heather's been working with Kevin from the Neenah Fire Department on what we should be budgeting for, because we have budget lines that we're not quite sure what they're for. So he's concerned that our turnout gear budget was too light, because a turnout gear is $6,000 and there was only $10,000 budgeted. Well, you're not gonna buy, 1 2/3 turnout gear. And then we should probably develop a replacement rotation. Yeah. Because does it get old and wear out?
Well, some of it wears out, it can get torn, but after 10 years,
10 years,
it's supposed to be, yeah.
When was the last time we were replacing turnout gear?
Well, some people got new gear a couple of years ago,
Okay.
but not everybody. So I mean, that's what we gotta go back through and look at all the gear
Okay.
and see.
So we don't have a replacement policy or anything?
No.
We're gonna have to have
I
one.
think we need to have that
Because
budgeted,
those are safety issues.
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
honestly, we could probably replace the turnout gear every year.
Oh, I would imagine we do, it's just how many do we replace every
Right.
year?
Yeah, at a time. And once you get into a rotation,
Right.
it may not, it may less,
And it may be that if we do 2 next year, we only increase that budget line by 2,000. So it might be 12,000 instead of 10,000.
so far we haven't bought any gear this year, so maybe we buy one.
So
for the year
next
and
year we
then-
might need 3 of them. Bottom
Yeah,
line.
well, if you can, yeah.
You can carry that money over.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We could.
We can carry that money over.
Okay.
We should be doing it if you're thinking about replacing it later on. carry it over until, I mean, I've been on the board before, we changed a pile of turnout gear, but it wasn't $6,000 a
No.
pop either.
No.
Everything's gone up.
Well, I
Yes,
know it.
everything's gone up.
Are there any other budgeting tips that he's offered?
He hasn't, no, I haven't seen him. Last week he was here, we talked about other stuff. We haven't set up a date for this week yet, so I'll get in touch with him and see if he's gonna come, but I think then this week or next week he should have the budget so we can sit down and go over it.
So in September, we'll bring you actually a draft budget. We have a draft budget now, but it's just a skeleton.
Right.
A lot of it's based on what was budgeted for this year, but we now know
You don't-
what changes to make, and I've already started moving things to the correct spots, and then each section will subtotal for you, so you can see what the subtotals are for each area.
And while we're speaking of budget, this hasn't been spoke of lately, but we're gonna have to replace our two-way radios within the next 5 years. And that's gonna be probably $200,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
So
to
we're
work
gonna try to
for-
find some grants
Yeah,
and stuff like
yeah.
that. We've already tried through the county for some grants,
Well,
so,
if we hold off filing for a grant this year, we file for a grant through Firehouse Subs, we might be able to get some of them through there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
pagers a
I'm
couple years
looking
ago.
at Microsoft for computers and software. Did we ever get our EIN?
She does not have the paperwork.
We have a problem.
She said that she was, it would have been whenever we started, and that was way before her time of when we started, so she doesn't have it in any of her
The
paperwork.
city doesn't have it either.
So
Because
I don't know where,
It's upstairs.
and it could, I don't know where, but I have to go back and figure out when we became, well, first we have to figure out if we have the same EIN number from when we were a city fire department.
We wouldn't have an EIN
then-
number,
so
the
then
city
we-
would have it.
So then we have to find out when we became a true district, and then that'll tell me where I can start looking. So,
Because we need that to file for any state or federal grants. They just don't want our number, they want the actual document.
and I think if worse comes to worse, I can type up a letter and send it to the government, and they can reissue me one.
It's been on this thing for a long time, I don't think I've ever seen a document. I mean, probably
Well,
this one.
and I asked Van Briesen too, because they've always been the council, going back to Tom Moniz, but they don't have it
That would
either.
have been before his time.
Oh, would
Back-
it?
It would-
Okay.
yeah,
been back
'cause it was before my time.
probably,
Because it's almost 20 years, isn't it?
Well,
I believe
were
so.
you on as a city fire department?
I think Steve
How many
Sorensen
years
was.
have you been on?
25.
Okay.
So-
Question.
Yes?
Question, would we find that number on our tax return?
Yes, but they want the original documentation, Jolene. We know what the number is.
Oh, I thought I heard someone say we don't know if we have the same number.
No, I was
No.
asking if when we were a city fire department, if we would have the same number from when we were a city to a district, but no, because we would have had to file a whole new,
Because we're a separate,
Entity.
we're a separate not-for-profit, so we would have, the federal government would have given us our own EIN number.
Right.
But they're asking, we know what the number is, but the federal government and state government want to see the documentation, which we don't have. Does that make sense, Jolene?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, my.
it's just an update.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'm gonna put budget down for, so we'll do a tour upstairs, review the state plans and budget. Jonathan's not here, so we'll put exit interviews.
Do you need to get on that insurance quote difference, do you need to get an explanation for that? So we know it's accurate when we do the budget?
No, the insurance we know is accurate.
Yeah, he told us how much it was this year, and then he told us how much of an increase we're
Yeah.
gonna have, and that even with that increase, we won't
It
even.
doesn't come up to the 33,000.
Yeah.
what we have to do, and I think I think the easiest way to be is to call Amber at CLA, tell her what budget line we're looking at, and ask her what expenditures came out of that budget line.
So you know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's the easiest, because when I've been on the phone with her checking things, if I can give her the date, well, I can't give her the date, but if I can give her the code, she can look up the code. Because one of the expenditures, the insurance is due October 1st, and this payment was made,
Before, it was
22,000 was made,
between January and July.
so we don't, and maybe it was a late payment, I don't know. So we need to figure it out. Are there any questions about the budget? Anything you want us to specifically be looking at?
Are we gonna be doing a budget at this meeting, or will it be a special budget meeting?
There'll be a special budget meeting, but I want the board to be involved in, I got blindsided last year with the budget. I worked with the former chief on it, and we had a budget to present, but when it was presented, it was different. And I was stunned by that, because I thought we had agreed on it, but there were several increases, and now looking at his notes from that budget, there were things in there that he was told not to do.
Yep.
So we're gonna try to put together a budget that realistically reflects what they need and what keeps them safe. And we don't need to budget for the fire truck. They don't want a payment until January of 2025. So we don't need to worry about,
So we're over a year out. Year
yeah.
and a half out.
They want the money, they want that down payment in January, because we're supposed to take delivery on December 31st of that year.
Okay.
That's when it goes into production.
And actually, that doesn't have to be in our budget anyway,
Nope.
because we don't pay for it. That goes in the city budget.
Municipalities
It's all
pays.
Yeah.
budgets.
Yep.
It's-
Where's the money come from?
The municipalities.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
One of the things though, Tom, that I do want to talk about when we talk about the budget is the town of Nepiescum pays differently than the town of Ripon and the town of, city of Ripon, because we pay on equalized value.
Mm-hmm.
And the town of Nepiescum does not. They pay on assessed value.
Oh.
And so I know Barb thinks that this is a very easily understandable thing, but it's not. It's not, because when I go over what your assessor provides, it's assessed value, but everybody else is paying on equalized value, which is the state generates that amount. But your assessor is generating the amount Nepiescum
So maybe a
pays.
question for us to ask our assessor, could we convert this so we are all on the same?
Well, and talk to your fellow board members, because it's not, I mean, I've been working with equalized values and assessed values for, a long time, and assessed values are typically less than the equalized value.
because you get your taxes equalized values always up, so you're in compliance with. But we had a problem with that before, and I thought we had that straightened out.
What you have is what you agreed to. It's a whole different animal. Jim Wirch and Barb Mashak worked on it, and I know what they did. I understand what they did. I'm just saying assessed value is different than equalized value.
So it makes sense that all the contributors would be on the same system.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when Potomac and Green Lake were on, that was equalized value also.
And again, I've only been doing this for a little over a year. Gary knows the history better than I do, and Barry would too. But I think it's worth a conversation. It may be that we can't change it this year, but maybe looking forward, we talk about it.
Okay.
And,
And I-
and isn't it worth adding that when we talked about this last time, someone had stated that because in the town of Nebraska, maybe it's different for so many farmers that have more land. I don't know the specifics here, but that was part of the conversation when this was brought up last year as to why that seemed like it was fair or fairer for them, apparently.
Yeah, that may have been the conversation, but you're comparing apples and oranges.
Right.
Because the town of Ripon has significant ag
Yep.
too.
Yep. And they're doing equalized and Nebraska's doing assessed.
Yeah,
Now, my question would be, is that what you use for the other half of the town of Nebraska for the part that Berlin covers?
yeah, we have 44%.
Right.
So are they both doing assessed on both sides?
I'll ask about that.
That would be helpful,
Good.
because I think the assessed value artificially deflates
Yeah.
what the contribution should be.
Right. Which isn't something the town's gonna wanna hear about, but.
Well, no, but,
But it's, you know, it's fair, because if they have all this, a grain leg and bins, and there's a fire in the dryer or a barn or something, you know, they're paying for that, and they should be paid fairly.
But now remember, and I think you were on the board when we were having, EPS came in and the chairman came in and, because we charge for a fire call in the town EPS. Berlin does not charge EPS for fire calls. Some people are thinking that's not fair, because if I lived across the street, I wouldn't have to pay for a fire call. And here I do.
I
We
thought,
can't, I mean, we can, but I don't think you can look at these the same way. It's just, you know, I have a farm here and a farm here. This one's in the Amro School District, and this one's in the Ripon School District. They aren't the same.
right.
And it's the same fire districts or
but
anything,
I-
it's the same thing. It's, you have what you have, and I think we have to be real careful about not being fair. I mean, they should be fair, don't get me wrong, but that's
Right.
why we were on equalized value. And we don't pay, and you don't pay, and the city doesn't pay on farmland, and there is farmland in the city. We pay on structures. And
okay, but you pay for the, for the Berlin district to cover your 66% of Nebraska. You pay them for that, right?
yes.
It's 56.
56, I'm bad at math. All I'm saying is, if it's equalized, you're equalized, we're equalized, they're
That's
equalized,
what it's supposed to be.
and that would make it a fair thing.
Yes.
Yep, and I know they have a lot of farms up there, but you guys do too, and you're paying equalized.
Talk to Mike Orgula too. He would have a lot of history on
But
it.
I think, and once you figure it out, and figure out why it is the way it is, then maybe we need to put something in, like the records, so that it doesn't have to keep coming up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once we get an explanation.
And it doesn't have to happen this year. It's a little late, but we
But we
should,
have to understand why
Yeah.
it is different.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and your clerk can probably tell you that, or your assessor, or whoever. But my question has always been, why, if everybody else is using equalized value, you all are using assessed value? And I haven't heard a good, I haven't heard a good answer.
I mean, you still gotta pay taxes on the equalized value, don't you?
Yeah, you pay on equalized value.
Right.
So I don't know why we're not using, we're not using it for this.
I don't know. It's come up and come up and come up, and
I
I
don't,
thought they were back on equalized value, and there was a problem, because they'd have to get the assessor to do that by budget time.
Mhm.
So they knew what, and they were having a little trouble with that, and then they got that straightened out. I mean, and I'm not real factual, but I know there was some stuff like that.
Yeah, I did the calculation based on equalized value for 44% of Nepiescum. And then I did the whatever I get from your clerk, and they were different numbers. But I used the assessed stuff that was sent. So it's very confusing.
Part of the problem there, I think, I don't know, if years ago they were just taking 44% of your value for the town, and there was an issue with that wasn't fair.
Mhm.
The town had the issue that it wasn't fair because 44% that we have is not near what the 60-some percent is on the other side. The value of the homes and the value of
Right.
all of that. And that came in there, but then the assessor was supposed to break that stuff out. Right?
Well, it is broken out. It is broken out. So but I think it's worth a conversation.
Oh, definitely. And it seems to me like it would be an assessor issue. We ask the assessor, can we convert this for the purpose of the fire district budget so that everybody's being
Yeah,
evaluated the same?
because they do the 44% that we, and I think that the reason the assessed values are in there because you could see very specifically what properties are in there.
Right.
So I just need to understand. My brain is not mathematically really inclined, so it helps. So thank you, Tom.
Yep.
Is there any board discussion or communications?
I have communication.
You have a communication.
I do.
Okay.
We received a postcard in the mail this last month, and it says, "Thank you for your dedicated service to our community. You are appreciated. Sincerely, Carol Jeffrey." So I just wanted to share that because we always share the bad. I wanted to share the good.
Well, that's nice. Did you see this?
Nope, it was a surprise for him too.
Yep, surprise. Do we know this person? Did we do something for her?
There you go. Okay, so agenda items for future meetings. I have an upstairs tour, review of the state plans so that you can see what the vision was for it, budget, and then Jonathan's exit interviews. Is there anything else anybody would like?
Exit interviews, upstairs tours, what was the last thing's budget?
Budget. There's a upstairs tour, review of state plans for the upstairs. Budget, and then exit interviews, and then hopefully we'll get a quote from Heatley to have that discussion about the upstairs.
Electric.
Yeah. So, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, I would entertain.
One question on the
yes, sir.
upstairs. You're really not occupying it now, nobody's living up there or staying.
No, they go up there during the day, during their personal time, they may go up and watch TV
Okay,
or something.
so, to me, that's not occupancy, really.
We just have to see what Sue says.
Let's see what she says.
We'll see and we're going into the winter months, so, I mean, right now, yeah, they can stay down here in the room down here if they have to take 51 overnight. Once the weather gets cold, which isn't gonna be for a very, very, very long time, if I have anything to say about it. There's also workout equipment up there, so the guys do go up there and work out too, so
Yeah.
that might be what he's thinking.
But it might be that, during the day, it's okay to have partial occupancy because it's at night if we lose power that the problem is. Too, because there's no exit that you need the floodlights to see your way out.
All you guys.
We have a
are-
generator up there though, so that would,
Yeah, all you
All
guys
of
are
those
into
equipment.
is
Oh, okay.
cell phones and computers and everything else. Everybody's got their cell phone.
camera.
John,
Nice.
what?
There you go. Okay,
And John Heatley may be able to shed some light on what we would have.
no
would
pun
have to do.
intended.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get hold of John Heatley and have him come down here and we can meet with him.
Our next meeting is September 5th. I think that's the day after, is that the day after Labor Day? Yep. Okey dokey. All right, so is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Tom. I want to say this is record time for us. It's 8:15. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
Those opposed, same sign. Thanks a lot, Jolene. You gave us our quorum.